Well, the debate on the Waqf Amendment Bill going on in Parliament, it is absolutely raging. There have been several important reactions which have been coming in across the day. Let's listen in to some of them before we get down to our big debate right here on Left, Right and Centre.
पहले तो वक्त में कोई गैर इस्लामिक सदस्य आएगा ही नहीं, ये स्पष्टता समझ लीजिए। ना मुतवल्ली गैर इस्लामिक होगा, ना वाकिफ गैर इस्लामिक होगा। मान्यवर, वहां कोई प्रोविजन नहीं है। जो धार्मिक संस्थाओं का संचालन करते हैं उसमें कोई गैर मुस्लिम व्यक्ति रखने का प्रावधान किया भी नहीं है, हम करना भी नहीं चाहते हैं। मान्यवर,
ये कानून प्रोस्पेक्टिव है, रेट्रोस्पेक्टिव नहीं है। ये आप लोग बहुत क्लियर से सुन लीजिए, ये किसी का जमीन छीनने का कानून नहीं है। ये किसी का राइट, किसी का हनन करके उसका प्रॉपर्टी को हड़पने का नहीं है। सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट बिल जब लाया गया था, वही लोग हैं जिन्होंने कहा था कि सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट बिल पास होकर एक्ट बन जाएगा तो मुसलमानों का हक छिन जाएगा, उनका नागरिकता खत्म हो जाएगा। आज सीए लागू हो गया, बताइए किसी मुसलमान का अधिकार छीना है?
1947 में भारत ने एक विभाजन देखा है, वो एक परिवार और एक पार्टी के कारण वो विभाजन हुआ है। आज जमीन जिहाद, लैंड जिहाद के नाम पर हम दूसरा विभाजन नहीं होने देंगे, नहीं होने देंगे। एक स्पष्ट संदेश तो यहां पर देना ही चाहते हैं कि मोदी जी के राज में भारत में एक कानून, एक संविधान और एक भारत रहेगा।
देश की उन्नति के लिए नए वक्त के साथ चलना होगा। देश के उन्नति के लिए नए वक्त के साथ चलना होगा और मुसलमान भाइयों और बहनों की तरक्की के लिए नए वक़्फ के साथ आगे बढ़ना होगा।
इस बिल के द्वारा 4 इनके मूल उद्देश्य कि संविधान को कमजोर करना, टू डाइल्यूट द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन। इनका दूसरा उद्देश्य है भ्रम फैलाना, टू डिफेम द माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटीज ऑफ इंडिया। इनका तीसरा उद्देश्य है टू डिवाइड द इंडियन सोसाइटी, डाइल्यूट, डिफेम, डिवाइड। और चौथा इनका उद्देश्य है टू डिसएनफ्रेंचाइज द माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटीज।
वक्फ बिल का लाना भाजपा की सियासी हट है। वक्फ बिल के पीछे की न तो नीति सही है, न नीयत।
This is a clear attempt on the part of the bill to curtail the right of the Muslims in our country. ये ठीक नहीं है। मैडम, हिंदू या मुस्लिम का हसद मत छेड़िए, अपनी कुर्सी के लिए जज्बात को मत छेड़िए एक जंग मिलजुल कर गरीबी के खिलाफ। दोस्त मेरे मजामी लकबत में मत छेड़िए।
I dare to charge the government that this parliament is being used as a mere ventilating chamber and it has been undermined. It is nothing but an unpardonable onslaught on the constitution religion.
All right, a fascinating debate taking place now in the Lok Sabha. Joining us to discuss a lot of what's being looked at closely are Parijita Sarangi of the BJP, Brijendra Singh of the Congress Party, Shaina ANC of the Shiv Sena, Tushar Gupta, Atikur Rahman, who's a researcher in Islamic studies, Pradeep Bhatti, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, also with us, and Tausif Ahmed Khan, a political analyst, someone who's close to the Trinamool Congress. I thought it would be interesting to actually try and simplify all of the issues here by going through a series of basic questions. Parijita, let me come to you first. One of the key questions, does adding non-Muslims to Waqf boards, as has been proposed now, ensure accountability, or does it erode Muslim self-governance?
A very good evening. At the outset, let me make it very clear that Prime Minister Modi's government is not encroaching upon the religious rituals of the Muslims. We are just trying to ensure effective management of the properties which have been dedicated as Waqf. So let us try to understand the difference between the two expressions that I made. Now, as far as the efficient management, efficient governance of these properties is concerned, it's extremely important to have the right kind of architecture, as we call structure, which would actually manage these properties. And for that matter, we need right people in the committee, on the committee. And that is why non-Muslims have been brought in, minimum two non-Muslims. I think the reason is we want to ensure inclusivity. We want to have diverse groups. We want to have more knowledge coming into, more ideas coming into, and that is why they have been brought in. Since 1995 Waqf Act, women have been there. We are just repeating that. Women were there and women would be there. And if you look at the composition of these state Waqf boards that has been proposed, or the Central Waqf Council that has been proposed, you will find that the majority are Muslims. The only difference is that a maximum, I think, of two non-Muslims have been brought in, not minimum.
Hold on. You made lots of points. Let me get a response.
I think we need to appreciate this.
Got it. I'll come back to you. I'm just trying to break it down. Brigendra Singh, respond to that. Aparajita Sarangi saying that, look, let's bring about diversity. That's in Waqf board. That's her essential argument. How would you respond?
It's strange to hear the word diversity from BJP, because normally they believe in one nation, one people, one language, one religion, one everything. So when it comes to Muslims, they're talking about diversity, and especially Muslims' bodies. I must thank Aparajita ji for being charitable enough to say that the religious practices as such are not being interfered with. It's only the management of the Waqf properties where we are bringing in non-Muslims into these boards and councils. It's not just two members. If you read it carefully, it can very well be managed to have a non-Muslim majority on these boards and council. It's as simple as that. And it's quite interesting, because a party which does not even put up Muslim candidates, the entire government alliance does not even have a single Muslim MP in the Lok Sabha. They are claiming to speak for and in the interest of a community which neither they seek their support, nor do they give them any representation. So the four words which Mr. Gogoi used in his speech today, dilution of the constitution, dividing the society, defame, not just defame, demonize certain minority communities and disenfranchise them also, which is quite evident in the composition which has been suggested in this amendment bill. These are the things which are there before all of us, and it's very facile to say that we'll have diversity, we'll have more views.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. So you say that it is facile and that it's disingenuous. I take those points. I take those points, and that is an answer to what Aparajita ji said. Let me go across to Shaina NC for my next question. And it's an issue. Is scrapping Waqf by user? Now, that's an important phrase. It refers to a traditional practice whereby a certain property or a certain area which has historically been used by the Muslim community is considered part of the Waqf property, or is Waqf property. Is scrapping, quote unquote, Waqf by user, right, going forward, a fix for legal disputes, or is it a threat to historic mosques?
So Vishnu, first and foremost, let's understand what is the whole bone of contention vis-a-vis the Waqf board. Now, isn't it about transparency and accountability when you have so many cases of litigation and mismanagement? And I'd like to quote Vishnu that, the Waqf Act of 1995 and 2013, if at all, only showed you that the amendment showed how much inefficiency there is. Now, because of this inefficiency, it led to so many issues The issues could have been that of encroachment, it could have been that of the title of the property, it could have been disputes, mismanagement of ownership, quite a few cases of corruption too. And let's not forget how, the classic case of a property which was meant to be for the physically challenged, and that was just usurped by a builder in cahoots with the Waqf board. There have been so many such examples to put into the public domain. Mismanagement of ownership, disputes, not having correct property papers.
No, but China, I'm asking you a separate question.
Not having the correct
China, I take your points, but that's not what I'm asking you.
Let me please say this and then...
I'm asking you about, the entire plan of scrapping Waqf by user going forward. Perhaps it will not be retrospectively applied, but the argument stands. Is this a fix for legal disputes, or is it a threat to historic mosques? It goes beyond mismanagement.
That is exactly why I am giving you this prelude as to why there is this need.
Okay, so I heard your prelude. Now give me your perspective on this question.
So this is exactly why I have said that when you have so much mismanagement and when you have, when it comes to your records, the revenue department should have all the proper papers. The questions in Parliament have been raised vis-a-vis matters of dispute in the high courts in each of the state Waqf boards. So all of this needs to be streamlined. And coming back to what Aparajita ji said, yes, it's imperative to have two independent, whether they are functionaries of the government or the administration, can be deliberated upon. But where does it say that it has to be only from the community when you want to ensure that there are checks and balances in place? So the entire, there are certain Waqf properties where there have been encroachments and there are certain where they have encroached. But the fact is that 9 lakh acres of prime property across the length and breadth of this country is a huge number. So to have checks and balances in play, to make sure that systems are in place, to make sure that all the property records are with the revenue department, to make sure that the cases in the High Court come to a logical conclusion, so you know what is encroached upon and what is not. And coming to your question, I think they need to understand that if there are lacunas in the system, the best way forward is to have independent agencies also trying to partake in the larger good of benefiting the poor Muslims. And today on a debate where we had some
Shaina, let me interrupt you. Let me keep the strike rotating.
Accepted about the corruption that the Waqf board has been privy to.
Got it. Let me take this same question to Atikur Rahman. The Waqf by user part of what is being looked at is particularly controversial. Some say it can potentially take away historic properties which fall under the Waqf boards. Others say that it is a fix for legal disputes. How do you look at this?
That's correct, Vishnu. Vishnu, we have a problem with this fact, and to answer Shaina ji about this, we have a precedent in the Supreme Court. Whenever, Vishnu, there has been cases of mismanagement into religious places, particularly in the Southern Temple, the Supreme Court has given its final opinion that correct the impropriety. It is the duty of the government to remove the corruption and give the property back to the management of those temples. Can't this be done to the same Waqf property? I have no qualms, Vishnu, to admit all Waqf boards were deep into corruption. Our lands given by the Muslims in the name of Allah were mismanaged to the government, and the government's yes man, the chief minister's yes man, was the board chairman. The entire Waqf board was having members which were the yes men of the state government or the central government, whichever was applicable. The community never gained out of its own. So if you want to have corrective measures, you need to keep intact what the Muslim community has, told you in 5 crore objection letters, Vishnu. And today, Vishnu, if the government wishes that the community believes into them, do they have no good speakers? Anurag Thakur, who has declared me that I am a person who should be Goli Maru. I am a Gaddar. And he speaks for the betterment of the Muslims in Parliament. And you people want us to believe him? This can't be done, Vishnu.
I just wanted to quickly go across to Zafar Sareshwala to look at another issue. Basic question, will government surveys of Waqf properties bring transparency, or do you believe that there is a threat of it enabling state overreach? All right, we don't have Zafar as yet. Let me take that across to Pradeep Bhatti of the Samajwadi Party. Will government surveys of Waqf properties end up being state overreach, or will it enhance transparency?
Good evening, Vishnu, and to all my co-panelists. The whole issue or the basis of this bill is to bring the structural and administration issues. The legal and judicial concerns are the primary problems that what's being projected by BJP, and the operational challenges. But the irony is that the rights of the Muslim minority shall be now protected as claimed by the BJP, which has zero representation in the entire Modi era, which is 3 terms. The only purpose of the last few years, which is visible, is to spread hatred and division and further diversion of the issues, core issues. BJP is on the path of land grabbing and giving land to the near and dears and to their friends. The entire land of Waqf, out of which 27% of the land is coming from the UP state. So UP state, which has an election coming up in the next 1.5 years, there has to be quid pro quo where the land will be given and the lot of money, muscle, power will be utilized. BJP claimed for bringing this bill for the welfare of poor Muslim. Then the question will arise: how will you identify this pure Muslim? By their clothes, or you will identify from these people as a Mangalsut snatchers from the saviors for the daughters and sisters now, which you are claiming. And second thing about this is being done for the Muslim pichdas. So where the Hindu pichdas has gone, and where is the caste census and the injustice being done for those? So these all issues are important, as well as the important issue about the land grabbing and disputes. Let me first ask BJP that they are over 66% in the total civil cases. 66% are land disputes. Have you settled those? Approximately 2.5 million hectare of land is under dispute. So what action you have taken? Now you are doing it. Wow. What is the magic stick you have that you?
Okay, let's get a response
what about
to
the
that.
Parijita
Parijita ji, the entire issue of disputes
corruption
over land, which have stalled our legal system, which is a fact. How does the BJP assume that by looking at Waqf cases, you would be able to resolve these issues when so many land disputes remain unresolved?
See, this is going to be a big reform measure of Modi's government. Let's appreciate and acknowledge that. There are 5 reasons why we have gone ahead with this bill, which is being deliberated upon, discussed in the Lok Sabha right now. Number 1 reason is unrealized revenue potential of the Waqf properties. Let me tell you that in 2019-20, the income from all the Waqf properties across the country put together was 166 crore, which has come down to just 9 lakh rupees at this juncture. So imagine the kind of decline in the income per annum from the Waqf properties in the country. This is one of the reasons we have to augment the income. Number 2, encroachment, huge encroachment. Now let me actually put the facts straight. According to the WOMC portal of the Ministry of Minority Affairs, there are about 8.79 lakh properties, Waqf properties in the country lying all over, and they actually are spread over 37.39 lakh acres. Imagine, and these are all registered, these are all reported properties. Maybe there are many more, and 58,000 of these are encroached upon as reported. Now, number 3, very poor maintenance of these Waqf properties leading to decline in the income. Number 4, pendency of cases in the tribunal, and you know, the finality of tribunal's judgment was irking everybody. That is why it was decided that, appeal could be made in the High Court. So the High Court element has been brought in. Now, fifth and very important is the lack of transparency and efficiency. And that is why you are aware and I am aware that within 6 months, preferably all the details of all the Waqf properties would be uploaded in the portal of the Ministry of Minority Affairs by the caretakers. Now, see, we are dealing with muttawalis. Muttawalis are caretakers. We have to augment their income, number one. And number two, overall, the poor Muslims have to get more money from these religious activities through Waqf. I think they were not getting that, and I have given you the figures. So I think when we talk, let us be convincing in our arguments through facts and figures. So this is the basic intention of the government. I reiterate what I started my statement with. We are not entering into the realm of the religion of these people. We are
it's
just
more
trying
about
to
the
bring in
management of the
governance,
Waqf.
proper
Hold on for a moment. What I'm going to
in the
do right
management
now
of Waqf
is look at a little bit more in terms of data. Now, obviously, the properties that Waqf boards hold across the country are huge. So let's take a look and let's analyze where the properties lie from the north of the country to the south. The highest number of Waqf properties lie in Uttar Pradesh. It is followed by Jammu and Kashmir as well. The numbers in terms, and let's go to the next page, are upwards of 1,20,000 Waqf properties in Uttar Pradesh alone. If you take a look at the other states where they are significant, they are Punjab and also Rajasthan. So UP is by far and away the largest. There are under 20,000 Waqf properties in Jammu and Kashmir and in Rajasthan. Punjab has more Waqf properties, in fact, than Jammu and Kashmir. But let's take a look in other parts of the country as well. Let's move to the south of the country. Karnataka ranks second in terms of Waqf properties. So UP number one, Karnataka number two. But if you look and do a comparison between what lies in the south of the country and compare it with Karnataka, then UP far more. Karnataka has over 30,000 Waqf properties, but that's a fraction of what Uttar Pradesh actually has. And that gives you a graphical representation of where Karnataka stands vis-a-vis Uttar Pradesh. So Karnataka versus Uttar Pradesh, Karnataka has above 30,000. Let's take a look at Kerala. There are over 10,000 Waqf properties over there. And then we can also take a look at Andhra Pradesh, less than 10,000 Waqf properties. So let me quickly also get another quick reaction in from Brijendra Singh. You wanted to respond, sir, to Aparajita Sarangi. Go ahead.
Yes, on this point of removal of Waqf by user, and where it said that one need not really worry about it because it's only with prospective effect and it's not applicable retrospectively. Now, the way the Waqf properties have been managed or mismanaged, as was mentioned, that almost 8.72 lakh Waqf properties are spread across the country. Out of these 8.7 lakh properties, 4.36 lakh properties details are not really available, which basically means the question you had posed earlier, whether it's a fit case for a lot of litigation or just usurpation of this land or the kind of influence which comes with it, one can very well understand. As far as mismanagement, encroachment is concerned, Vishnu, you've covered armed forces a lot. Our cantonment areas, our air force stations, our military stations, are there not any encroachments there? I mean, just to answer Ms. Sarangi's contention, only 7% of the total Waqf properties are under encroachment. The figure of 58,000 properties approximates to about just 7% of those total Waqf properties. So it's not as if it's a problem only besetting the Waqf properties and the rest is not there. The intention of this bill is totally different. Intention is simply to control the largest religious endowment of the Muslims and to have a firm control over it so that what cannot be done politically can be done through the legislative means.
Okay. Tushar Gupta, does the 5-year Muslim practice rule protect the integrity of the Waqf boards, or does it exclude or potentially exclude genuine donors?
And that's a very important question, Vishnu. You know, until 2013, the definition of who was dedicating their property to the Waqf did not include non-Muslims. In 2013, the set of amendments that came in included non-Muslims or any person who could make a dedication, which is how the Waqf started extending to non-Muslims, which is where the Section 40 started to come in, which is where Section 107 became important. So it was a amalgamation of 2 or 3 separate clauses that came together to impact non-Muslims. Now, Waqf, as you look at it, principle by principle, is something that is unique to Islam, and that's all right. But where does it include non-Muslims? Absolutely nowhere. So you have a situation where the Waqf is for the Muslims, by the Muslims, from the Muslims and the non-Muslims. But when it comes to the compositions of the Waqf board and tribunals, it's Muslim dominated. So there is clear conflict of interest here. And this conflict of interest came in 2013. It wasn't envisioned in 1954, not in the 1995 Principal Act. It came in 2013's amendments, which is why you have this entire confusion, which is what the Home Minister also said, that because of these additions combined with Section 40, the land holding under Waqf increased by a significant margin in the last 10 years. So I don't think this change in definition actually has a negative impact on the Muslim groups. However, it has a positive impact on the non-Muslim groups, because if you look at the bill's copy, Section 40 also stands omitted, Vishnu. So if you look at them together, Section 40 going out under definition of who makes a dedication, now including someone who has been practicing Islam for at least 5 years, that actually secures the non-Muslim groups and it adds more transparency and accountability.
Okay. Tausif Ahmed Khan, one of the proposals are audits and digitalization as a step towards efficiency, or do you believe that this is a cover for bureaucratic control?
Yes, of course. You see, the stated object of the government, and we have heard so many political leaders of BJP saying that, and even on the panel, some of the BJP supporters are saying that Waqf properties are encroached, and the object of the bill, the intention of the government is just to stop that encroachment. Now, this is an absolute lie. Why I say this? Because there is a penal provision. Those who found guilty of encroachment in the current law will be given a punishment of rigorous imprisonment. Under the current bill, government has removed rigorous imprisonment and reduced it to simple imprisonment. Obviously, that is done with an intention to encourage people to encroach the Waqf property. It does not go with what they are saying by their mouth, but the action, what they are going to do in the bill by reducing the imprisonment from rigorous to simple, it clears what their intention is. You see, they may say, that there are illegalities involved in this bill, there is unconstitutionality involved in this bill, but the intention is very, very evil. And why I say evil? There is no provision of creating caste and subcaste under the Islamic law for Muslims. But by this bill, government is trying to create a separate Waqf board for Aga Khan, separate Waqf board for other subsects, other castes that they are creating. Now, this is not only illegal or unconstitutional, because the constitution does not give power to parliament to create these caste and subcaste. The constitution has given power to the parliament to create only, in a scheduled caste among the Hindus based on the economic and other reasons, which is there. But in this case, parliament has no power to create this kind of caste or subset, yet they are creating this caste and subset under the bill with a sole motive to divide, to create a division. This is not unification of the people or the unification of the community. So that goes against what they are saying. Now, the government is only, the BJP is only attempting to legalize the encroachment that various government organizations have on the on the Waqf property. The Rajasthan alone has 80% of Waqf property in Rajasthan are occupied by the Rajasthan government itself. Now, the opposition MPs has time and again asked the minority minister as well as the BJP government to give us the data of the encroachment of the Waqf property. The fact is that most of the property is encroached by the government. Now, there are people who are...
Okay, all right. Tausif, you made lots of points. Let me quickly bring in China. China, to the point of who is encroaching the properties presently, it has been stated, and just you heard it right there, that the government in many cases is. How would you respond?
If at all, Vishnu, I'd say quite the opposite. If properties have been encroached upon even, the government is coming out with the amendments so that it is streamlined and you have the revenue records in place. So not even the Waqf board is at a loss, neither are the people who are contending the contention vis-a-vis high courts. But I want to ask a question. For all those Muslim families that have donated to the Waqf board, and they have donated for the cause of the underprivileged, it could be the physically challenged or women, or for that matter, education, what have they done? Have they actually provided in accordance with the wills of the people who have donated properties? The fact is that we have to clearly here understand what is the intent of the government. The intent of the government is transparency and accountability. The intent of the government is where properties have been encroached, there you should have clarity. Where people have from the Waqf board have encroached, that too there should be clarity. When the Waqf board has suo moto decided to sell properties to XYZ, and let me not get into the details of that, I think the time has come for all of us to unequivocally speak up and speak up for the underprivileged Muslims, whether they are Shias, Sunnis, Khojas, from the Aga Khanis, from the Bohras, that is for a later point of discussion.
All right, okay,
right
all
now
of you hold on for just a moment. Just a moment, hold on.
10 seconds.
No, half a sec. I've got to move on to another aspect of this debate. So we will try and come back to this later, but I've got Zafar Sareshwala joining me at this stage. Mr. Sareshwala, thanks very much for being with us. One of the key aspects of what's being proposed is the empowerment of women and orphans. Does this bill empower women and orphans, thereby justifying the bill, or do you believe that this is some sort of a pretext for interference? Zafar Bhai.
See, Vishnu, as it is, forget about the amendment. As it is the bill today, it is totally under government control.
Yes.
I mean, we have about 29 or 30 Waqf boards in the country. Every single member of Waqf board is appointed by the government of the day. The chairman of Waqf board is appointed by the government. The CEO of Waqf, he is an IS officer. Again, he is a government appointed. The tribunal, Waqf tribunal, it is under the law department of that state. So even now, and then you have Central Waqf Council, which is directly under Government of India. So as it is, even now, all Waqf boards are directly under the control of the government. But my issue is different, Vishnu. My problem is that there has been mismanagement with utter incompetency in managing the Waqf assets. Actually, it was all about managing assets. You need asset managers to do that. For God's sake, you have almost 7 lakh properties. You have about 9 lakh acres of land. You know, if a very, very incompetent asset manager would raise amount of at least 20 to 30,000 crore of rupees, and that money could have used for the downtrodden, underprivileged, orphan, widow, but nothing of that sort has happened.
Okay, Zafar
So
Bhai,
I
let me
think
ask
this
you
is the
this
real
question.
reform which is required.
Zafar Bhai, here's one key question. Will central oversight curb corruption in Waqf boards that's been widely reported, or do you believe that this might fuel communal tensions?
Of course, see, Waqf boards are heaped with corruption. Not only corruption, corruption and incompetency. So this is the, and you know what? Originally, what is Waqf all about? You know, the Prophet, peace be upon him, when he migrated from Mecca to Medina, the 2 institutions which he set up in Medina 1400 years back was Waqf and Baitul Mal. And why Waqf? That there should be a corpus. With that, the earning of that, it will take care of the poor, downtrodden, widows. In fact, I am sitting now in Abu Dhabi and I've been interacting with a lot of awqaf in this part of the world. Here, even when a husband divorces a wife and he can't pay the maintenance, even that maintenance comes from the awqaf. But I don't know, I have not seen in my life a Muslim orphan or a widow or a downtrodden Muslim whose fees would have been paid by Waqf board or whose education would have been taken care of. So actually we have failed in both the fronts.
All right.
In not managing the assets. I mean, there has to be judicious management of assets and the proceeds of that to reach to these for which the whole Waqf is all about.
Okay, Zafar Bhai, running out of time.